Greetings, friends. This is Survival Doc. Here I am, bugged out on my 5 heavily wooded acres deep in the Missouri Ozarks, waiting for the crap to hit the fan. Now, this is the second video that I've made today on the topic of money. If you missed the other one, I recommend that you go back and watch it. It's probably one of the most important videos that I've ever made. All right, when the crap hits the fan, we're going to need a medium of exchange. Preppers should be stocking away as well as food and water filters and items like that. Preppers should also be putting away money. And one thing that I recommend, if you watch the other video, is I recommend you put away silver coins, not gold. Gold is too valuable. If you go to try to exchange gold for a dozen eggs from your neighbor, it's not going to work because he's not going to have change. But you may be able to buy a dozen eggs with 1 silver dime. So I'm recommending 90% United States, 90% silver circulated coins, and also 40% silver half dollars. Please watch that video. It's very important. I go into details in that video. It's called "What Will You Use for Money When the SHTF?" All right, what I want to do in this video is elaborate a little bit on that, about why I think this collapse is coming. First of all, I want to tell you a little history. I'm a baby boomer. Baby boomers were those born between 1946 and 1964. I was born in 1956, right there in the middle of the baby boom years. All right, I have been forecasting this financial collapse, the one that we're in right now. I saw this coming back in 1984, 1985. That's how far back I saw this coming. All right, it's not something that I recognized on my own. I learned about it from reading the writings of some very astute economists, and what they were saying made a lot of sense to me, and I recognized that they were right. If I have, over the years, if I've learned that if I have a special talent, what that talent is, not necessarily that I am any smarter than other people, but I do seem to have a talent to recognizing when people are telling me the truth or when people are giving me BS. And what I'm seeing right now is a lot of people, particularly in the government, are giving us a lot of BS, and it really hasn't changed. It's been that way for a long time. But I am able to recognize the people who are telling me the truth. All right, back even in 1985, what I saw coming was the baby boomers retiring, which is what is happening right now. The baby boomers are reaching retirement age, and you have this large group of people who have been paying into the system, been paying Social Security all of these years, and they're reaching retirement age, and they're expecting to collect on the money that they've been paying in. The problem is, of course, and I recognize this even back in 1985, the government has been stealing all of that money that we have been paying in from the start. They didn't invest that money. They didn't put it aside and save it for us. They spent it. They saw this coming. It doesn't take a genius to see you have this large group of people who are going to start retiring at the same time, and those people are going to stop paying into the system, and there's going to be a smaller group of people paying into the system trying to support that larger group of people, and the math just doesn't work. It would work if we didn't have such a corrupt government who keeps stealing everybody's money, but the fact is they have stolen that money. All right, and what I learned from these economists is that when we're ever in this situation, when governments get hopelessly in debt, and even back then there was a huge debt, the government had a huge deficit and a huge debt that was even then recognized as unsustainable. But they knew that they could put this off for a few more decades, so they didn't worry about it. They figured that by the time they retired, they would be out of the picture, and someone else would come along and have to take the blame. And they're right. They're retired now, and here we are with another bunch of criminals who are still trying to kick the can further down the road. But what happens? Government's in debt, and they're going further in debt, and they have these unfunded liabilities, unfunded because they've stolen all the money instead of saving it, and they're going to have to get out of this debt somehow. And what governments do historically, if you study history, is what they do is they inflate their debt away. When you make money worth less and less and less, your debt, of course, is measured in the currency. And so one way you can inflate your debt away is by devaluing the currency or inflating the currency. In other words, you can pay your debt back, but you just print an endless number of dollars to pay it back. But of course, that is inflation. And inflation means that you have more money chasing the same number of goods, and that results in higher prices. A lot of people think that inflation is higher prices. That is not true. Higher prices are the result of inflation. Inflation is an inordinate increase in the money supply. All right, so even back in 1985, I recognized that what the government was going to be doing is they were going to devalue the currency, destroy the currency, which would result eventually in hyperinflation. And the way to protect yourself, even back then, I recognized, was buying gold and silver. And I have been recommending people buy gold and silver to prepare for this time ever since 1985. All right, now we are here, and the financial collapse is right around the corner, according to all these financial experts. And probably it's going to occur in 2016 and 2017. Now, there are two things that could happen. One is they can put it off until after the election, and that's what they usually do. The people in power don't like for things really, really bad to happen right before the election, because then what happens is people get unhappy and they throw all the bums out. And you can kind of see that happening right now when people like Donald Trump are coming along and getting huge support. And the establishment is really freaking out. So people get ready to throw the bums out. So what do the bums do? Is they take our attention off of them, or take our attention off of the people who are really responsible for it. All right, that is where Gerald Celente says, when all else fails, they take you to war. All right, and what they're going to do is they're probably going to get us into a world war, and they're going to say, see all those people over there, our enemy, they're the ones who are responsible for the predicament that you're in. When, of course, the criminals are the ones in Washington, D.C. and elsewhere in government. But anyway, one of the people that I do, one of the financial advisors that I do follow is Doug Casey. I want to talk about a couple of articles that I have here that he just recently came out with just this month. One is called Doug Casey and the War on Cash. And I have some quotes here from his article. In several countries, they've passed laws outlawing cash transaction above X amount of dollars. It's 1,000 euros in France, it's 5,000 in Uruguay, and which used to be the Switzerland of South America. In other countries, including Sweden, Norway, Denmark, India, and Israel, there have been calls to ban cash entirely. Just try withdrawing a large amount of cash from a U.S. or Canadian bank these days. You're in for an unpleasant surprise. Well, and if you have cash in the bank, what I'm recommending, they are going to start stealing your cash. They're already doing it in other countries. It's called negative interest rates. That's where they take a little bit of your cash at a time. All right, it's happening in other countries, and as a result, people are beginning to pull their money out of the banks. All right, so what is their solution to that? They want to do away with cash. They want the money to be strictly in a digital format. You can't take digits out of your bank account. You can spend it, but otherwise you can't take the digits out and store them under your mattress. All right, that is a way for them to control everything. Abolishing the use of cash will also make tax collection easier. It enables them to track everything you buy and sell, and effectively everything you own. Statists have always hated the idea of money in general, actually. Money represents freedom for the individual. It gives you the independence to be, do, and have what you want. without asking anyone's permission. That's why money shouldn't have anything to do with the state. If they succeed and all your money has to be in banks or some part of the financial system governments have complete access to, they can freeze your accounts, all your activity. You're completely under their control. So be a good little lamb. One recent example is the infamous bail-in that happened in Cyprus. Anyone who had more than 100,000 euros in a Cypriot bank had most of it confiscated in 2013. This blatant theft is being discussed as a policy option around the world in cases of crisis, like we're heading into now, as though it were a normal thing. Folks, that's what's going to come here. If you leave your money in the bank or you leave it in dollar-denominated assets, whether that's invested in retirement accounts, they are going to come after your money. It is what they're going to do to get them out of the financial collapse. The way you protect yourself is you need to get your money out of the bank while you can, while you can still put cash under your mattress. All right, if you go to the bank, as he mentioned here, and try to withdraw money, you're going to run into trouble. They're going to treat you like a terrorist. So what I recommend you do is that you go to the ATM machine each day and you pull out some of your money every day. Then you take that to your local coin and bullion shop and you buy silver coins and you take them home and you stash them away. Keep them in your possession. And when the crap hits the fan, that's going to be the money you're going to be using for barter. Now, another article by the same writer, Casey, is entitled "Move Your Money Underground Before the Global Bank Runs Begin." And this also came out just this month. Italy, Spain, Mexico, and Russia have all banned large cash transactions. The European Central Bank is thinking about getting rid of the 500 euro bill. Former U.S. Treasury Secretary Lawrence Summers wants the U.S. government to retire the $100 bill. Of course, the government won't stop with big bills. It wants to eliminate all cash. The excuse of fighting crime is propaganda to distract you from its real motive. Governments want to herd everyone into a digital financial system. If paper cash is eliminated, you'll have to keep your dollars in the bank. Dollars in the bank are much easier for the government to monitor, track, and tax. All right, the way that I look at it is if the bankers and the globalists hate cash, then I want to use cash. And lately what I've been doing is I have been paying for every transaction that I can using cash rather than using my debit card or writing checks or credit card or anything like that. If the bankers and the government is against it, then I'm for it. And I recommend you do the same. I recommend you have some cash on hand if you can afford to. Now, I realize that during this economic depression that we're in, there are a lot of people who don't have any money. A lot of Americans don't have any money. And if you're in that case, then I'm sorry, just do whatever you can do. I know Americans do still eat out a lot. If you're finding yourself eating out more than once a week, I recommend that you really reconsider that. And instead of eating out more than once a week, I'd take that money, all right, buy your own food at the grocery store, prepare your own food. You'll eat healthier when you do it that way anyway. And save that money. You need to scrimp and save every penny that you can, and save that money in cash, and also buy some precious metals with it if you can afford to. All right, negative interest rates, as I mentioned, are another way of confiscating your cash. Now, we're not seeing that in the United States yet, but they are talking about it, and they eventually will. Negative interest rates they're a perversion of capitalism, to quote him in this article here, and they could only exist in a world run by idiot politicians. Negative interest rates are becoming the new normal. Negative interest rates should trigger a massive bank run. A bank run is when too many people try to pull their cash out of the bank at once. As regular readers know, banks don't have anywhere near enough cash on hand to give even a small fraction of Americans their money back. Okay, what's going to happen when people recognize this financial collapse is coming down and the banks are stealing everyone's money? People are going to start pulling their money out of the bank. And that's when they're going to have their false flag, or they're going to have their bank holiday. They're going to shut the banks down. And for that reason, you need to have some cash on hand. I'm not talking about gold and silver here. I'm talking about cash. I recommend if you have any money in the banks, I recommend that you pull out maybe a few $100s every day if you can afford to, if you have that much money. Start pulling cash out. Keep a few $1,000s in your possession at home. All right, I recommend that you have, if you can afford to, I recommend that you have enough cash. I'm talking about greenbacks. Have enough cash in your house to pay your bills for 3 months. All right, after that, all right, and that is in case the banks shut down or the ATMs are not working. All right, and if you need to buy gas for your automobile and credit card system is not working, they will still take cash. All right, if you need to buy food at the grocery store and the ATM machines are not working, the credit card system is not working, or even the electricity is off, if they've got food in there, they will take cash for it. But you will not be able to use your digital money. For that reason, you need to have some cash on hand. All right, once you get enough cash on hand to cover your bills for how long you feel comfortable, whether that's cover your bills for a month, 2 months, or 3 months as I'm recommending, then I recommend you start taking your money and start buying precious metals. Find out a gold and silver bullion dealer in your area. Make sure you buy the metal and not the premium. And again, I refer you to my other video that I made on this topic. What will you use for money when the SHTF? You want to buy the metal, not the premium. So I recommend that you buy a little bit of silver each day. I think silver is a better buy right now than gold is. I think silver has a much larger upside potential, but I'm not recommending that you buy silver and gold as an investment. It may turn out to be a good investment. It might not, though. Gold and silver prices could still continue to go down. I don't think that they will go down as much as everything else will go down. I still think that they will maintain their value. And as I said before, everyone thinks eventually gold and silver, they may go down at first for a while, but eventually they will take off. All right, that's why governments are trying to outlaw paper cash. The CEO of Deutsche Bank, Germany's largest bank, expects all physical cash to be eliminated within a decade. If cash disappears, all your money will be trapped in the banking system. You'll be helpless against the government's bank account tax. To avoid this cash tax, people will go underground. That's what I'm talking about. If you have these small denomination silver coins, like old United States 90% silver coins and 40% silver coins, that is what the underground economy is going to be about. That's what this video is about. I'm advising all preppers to be putting away 90% silver coins and 40% silver coins, and also silver rounds, silver bars. Those are good too. All of these forms of silver are going to be money. But when we go underground, as we will go underground, that is going to be the recognized form of money. Sure, you may be able to barter ammunition or other items like that. Okay, what if your neighbor needs .308 caliber and you have .30-06 or some other caliber? What if your neighbor shoots 9mm in his handgun and what you've got is .38 specials? All right. Yes, ammunition, cigarettes, other things like that might be used for barter, There'll probably be a lot of things used for barters. Eggs will be used for barter. But the best thing that will be used for barter, something that everybody will accept, and that is silver. And I'm recommending, and gold too, but again, gold is too valuable. You might be able to buy your neighbor's farm with a gold coin, or with a few ounces of gold. You might be able to buy property or something, or maybe you could buy a tractor. But what if you just want to buy a loaf of bread, or what if you just want to buy a dozen eggs? You're not going to buy that with a gold coin, but you can buy it with a silver dime or with a silver quarter. Stash away the 90% silver coins, the old U.S. Circulated silver coins, which you can buy at their silver, just about at their silver cost. Don't pay more, don't pay much more. You're going to have to pay a little bit more because the dealer has to make his profit too. So when you buy $15 worth of silver, you might have to pay $16 or $17 for it. That's fair. All right, gold is the ultimate underground currency. And as we often remind you, gold is money. And when he says gold, read silver into that too. It's preserved wealth for thousands of years because it is easily divisible, especially silver is easily divisible, easily transportable, has intrinsic value, is durable, and has consistent form around the world. Just as important, governments can't create more out of thin air. They can create paper dollars, they can create digital currency, they can create as much fiat money as they want to. And if you put fiat money under your mattress, they can still devalue that money. All they have to do is just print more of it, bringing the value of the currency you have under your mattress, bring the value of that down just by printing more of it. So even though they can't get to your cash that's stored underneath your mattress, they can still devalue it. All right, and for that reason, like I said, you need to have some cash on hand to cover bills immediately, initially when the crap hits the fan. People in gas stations and grocery stores, the people you deal with, they're going to accept paper dollars for a while until they eventually realize that these aren't worth anything, and then we're going to go to strictly barter system. And when we go to the barter system, then that's where you're going to need your silver and gold coins. And as a final statement, he says here, we recommend you own a significant amount of physical gold. Read silver too. It's the best way to protect yourself from reckless government policies. This is Survival Doc, reminding you, be prepared to be fleeced.